Vande Mataram, dear students. I Vishal sir, and today I am going to teach you chapter number 7, A Visit to Cambridge. Okay. So before you read this chapter, let's know about the chapter. This is the story of a meeting between two extraordinary people, both of them disabled or differently abled. As we now say, Stephen Hawking is one of the greatest scientists of our time. He suffers from a form of paralysis that confines him to a wheelchair and allows him to speak only by punching buttons on a computer which speaks for him in a machine like voice. Firdaus Kanga is a writer and journalist who lives and works in Mumbai. Kanga was born with brittle bones that tended to break easily when he was a child. Like Hawking, Kanga moves around in a wheelchair. The two great men exchange thoughts on what means to live life in a wheelchair and on how the so-called normal people react to the disabled. Okay, so let's start the chapter. Writer says Cambridge was my metaphor for England and it was strange. Then when I left it had become altogether something else because I had met Stephen Hawking there. Okay. In this line, the author begins by telling the readers that at some point in life, England only meant Cambridge for him and nothing more. But when he met with Stephen Hawking, the meeting and relevance of England in his life changed completely. It was on a walking tour through Cambridge that the guide mentioned Stephen Hawking, poor man who is quite disabled now, though he is a worthy successor to Isaac Newton, whose chair he has at the university. Means when he was roaming with that guider, and guider told him about Stephen Hawking and told him that he is now disabled. Okay, whose chair is has he has at the university, and I started because I had quite forgotten that this most brilliant and completely paralyzed astrophysicist. Okay, the author reveals that before the guide had mentioned, he had forgotten that Stephen Hawking, most brilliant and completely paralyzed astrophysicist, the author of one of the biggest bestseller ever, A Brief History of His Time, lived here. Means writer had forgotten about the Stephen Hawking. When the tour, when the walking tour was done, I rushed to a phone booth and almost tearing the cord so it could reach me outside. Now, phoned Stephen Hawking's house. There was his assistant on the line, and I told him I had come in a wheelchair from India. Perhaps he thought that I had propelled myself all the way to write about my travels in Britain. I had to see Professor Hawking. Even 10 minutes would do. Half an hour, he said, from 3:30 to 4. Okay, means when writer called to Stephen Hawking, then call was received by his personal assistant, and writer told him that completely I am coming from India to meet. I am eager to meet Stephen Hawking. Could he give time to meet with him? And that assistant told that completely during hours, that is from 3:30 to 4 hours, that is half an hour time. In that duration you can meet to him only. Okay, and suddenly I felt big all over. Growing up disabled, you get fed up with people asking you to be brave as if you have courage, account on which you are too lazy to draw a check. The one thing that makes you stronger is seeing somebody like you. Means sometimes if you are feeling that you are different to each other, different to each one of your surrounding, but if you are getting anyone is like you, then you feel courageous. Okay, so achieving something huge, and it seems to you that you achieved something very big, then you know how much is possible, and you reach out further than you ever thought you could. Means sometimes when you think that completely I can't do anything, but you meet someone like you, but she has achieved so much, so you will feel courageous and you will think that completely I also can do so much. I haven't been brave, said his discombobulated computer-wise. The next afternoon, I have had no choice. Surely, I wanted to see. Living creativity with the reality of his disintegrating body was choice, but I kept quiet because I felt guilty every time I spoke to him. Forcing him to respond means completely when writer was talking with Stephen Hawking, then completely he was feeling guilty that Stephen Hawking is not able to speak properly, and he was speaking with the help of that computer. Okay, so writer don't want to make him speak more. It is because, okay, let's see. There he was tapping at the little switch in his hand, trying to find the words on his computer with the only bit of movement left to him. His long, pale fingers, everyone. So often his eyes would shut in frustrated exhaustion, and sitting opposite him, I could feel his anguish, the mind beyond with thoughts that come out to frozen phrases and sentence stiff corpses. Means whatever he was speaking, that was not just being possible with the help of computer, and he was tapping on that switch, and completely he was able to mm, speak because, with the help of computer. And his pale finger, there is described about pale finger means he was so much big, it is because, okay. And whatever thoughts, whatever is words he want to speak was coming with the help of computer only. Okay, a lot of people seems to think that disabled people are chronically unhappy. I said, I know that's not true, and myself, are you often laughing inside? Means writer wants to know about Stephen Hawking, that sometimes whether he is happy or sad. So he asked, writer asked to Stephen Hawking then completely, sometimes if are you feeling frustrated or feeling sad inside, are you laughing inside? So writer wants to know about Stephen Hawking, it is because he was asking to him. About 3 minutes later, he responded, I find it amusing when people patronize me. Sorry, patronize me. Means completely after 3 minutes he responded what he responded, let's know. And do you find it annoying when someone like me comes and disturbs you in your work? Means now writer wants to know the completely whether he get frustrated or whether he become angry when someone like me wants to meet him and disturbs in his work. The answer flashes yes. Then he smiled his one way smile, and I knew, without being sentimental or silly, that I was looking at one of the most beautiful men in the world. Writer is describing here that completely when he asked to Stephen Hawking that sometimes he feel angry when someone comes and someone disturbs him uh, as he wants to meet with him. So he smiled and he said yes, he feels that. A first glimpse of him is shocking because he is like a still photograph, as if all those pictures of him in a magazine and newspaper have turned it three-dimensional. Then you see the head twisted sideways in a slump, the torso shrunk inside the pale blue shirt, the wasted legs, and you look at his eyes, which can speak still, and they are saying something huge and urgent. It's hard to tell what, but you are shaken because you have seen something you never thought could be seen. Okay, now here writers speaks about him that what did he observed, what did he feel. Okay, he's saying that completely if you will say in Stephen Hawking pictures in any magazine, you will feel, you will found, you will find the same anywhere everywhere. Okay, so what, that completely he is so much big, but seeing his eyes you will feel that completely as he wants to say anything to you, as he wants to share something urgent to you. Okay, so that could be very urgent, and after seeing such kind of beautiful person you will feel that completely you are lucky, really lucky, that you are able to meet with him. Okay, Before you, like a lantern whose walls are worn so thin you glimpse only the light inside. Is the incandescence of a man, the body, almost irrelevant, exists only like a case made of shadows, so that I know, believer in internal souls know that that is what each of us is, everything else an accessory. Means completely when you will think that, when you will compare that our body is like a wall and inside that there is a lantern, means there's a soul whose what does whose lies spreads inside our body. Okay, so you will feel that completely that is everything is an else and an accessory. Okay, what do you think is the best thing about being disabled? I had asked him earlier. Now writer says that completely he had asked to him that what what does he think that is the best thing about being disabled? I don't think there's anything good about being disabled. He responded that he doesn't think anything that is good about being disabled. I think I said you do discover how much kindness there is in the world. Then I want to know that completely whether he discovered about the kindness whatever he felt during this disability. Yes, he said it was a disadvantage of his voice synthesia, that is I could convey no inflection, no shades or tone, and I could not tell how enthusiastically he agreed with me. Okay, now I said yes, he said yes, that completely that was disadvantage of his voice. Okay, every time I shifted in my chair, turned my wrist to watch the time, I wanted to make everyone of war 30-minute count. I felt a huge relief and exhilaration in the possibilities of my body, how little it mattered then that I would never walk or ever stand. Means now let us say that completely it is matters to him that he never can and roam, never can stand and roam here and there. But when he met with Stephen Hawking, then he came to know that what is the advantage of disability, and no matters how you are disabled from your body, but if you are completely able or you think something good, if you have desire to do anything, then you can make it possible with your burning desire. You can make it possible in any ways. Okay, so you must have a powerful desire to do anything, to make possible anything. So for that only you should do hard work. You should ignore each and every disabilities of your life, then only you will be able to do this. Now, writers is going to tell anything to Stephen Hawking, and he is writing that I told him how he had been an inspiration beyond glitch for me, and surely for others. Did that thought help him? Okay, means now writer expresses that completely he got inspired by him, because whenever he used to think that he is disabled, he can't do anything, but when he met him, then only he became able to know, he now became able to know that how can we use our desires. Okay, no, he said, and I thought how foolish I was to ask. When your body is claustrophobic room and the walls are growing narrower by day, it doesn't do much good to know that there are people outside smiling with admiration to see you breathing still. Okay, means sometimes Stephen Hawking is saying that I am unable to do anything, and sometimes I think that still I am doing work something, and people smile, people admire my work, but then also I don't think so that day by day I am be going getting weak. So I don't think so, I don't want to live now. Is there any advice you can give disabled people, something that might help make my life better? That now writer wants to know that some any advice from Stephen Hawking, and it is because he was asking to him. Okay, they should concentrate on what they are good at. I think things like the disabled Olympic are waste of time. Means if anyone is going to help disabled, person Olympic, that is waste of time, because one should only concentrate on the area in which he is perfect or he is good. Okay, so I know what you mean. I remember that years I spent trying to play a Spanish guitar considerably, considerably larger than I was, and how gleefully I had unstinged and one night. Okay, means now writer is memorizing about her days, his days, that when he was thinking he had played that guitar. Okay, the half hour was up. I think I have annoyed you enough, I said, grinning. Thank you for stay. Means when writer was about to leave him because he seen that time was over. Then he said, stay. I waited. Have some tea. I can show you garden. He said that he is eager to show me a garden. The garden was as big as a park, but Stephen Hawking covered every inch, rumbling along in his motorized wheelchair while I dodged to keep out of the way. We couldn't talk very much. The sun made him silent, the letters on his screen disappearing in the glare. Means when we were roaming, we were visiting that garden, we were seeing that garden, we were observing that garden, then with I observed that completely Eastern hopping covered every inch, rumbling along with motorized wheelchair. He was walking on, he was roaming with the help of that wheelchair. An hour later we were ready to leave. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't kiss him or cry. I touched his shoulder and wheeled out into the summer evening. Okay, means after that, after meeting him, he was very nervous, so he wants to touch, and he touched him, and touching his shoulder, he now returned to his country, that is India. I looked back and I knew he was waving, means he was waving, though he wasn't watching him, an embodiment of my bravest self, the one I was moving towards, the one I had believed in for so many years alone. I knew that my journey was over for now. Means now writer is saying in these lines that he was thinking that he would wave, but he was not waving. And after this, writer returned, and writer was energized after seeing him, after observing him, that how a person could be so much capable after being disabled. So ignoring his disability, one can be so much able. So students, it was chapter 7th explanation. If you have any doubt, then you can ask to me. It was very inspiration chapter, so please get inspired and take care.